Please welcome to today's show, Jessica Scozzola, humanitarian, actress, businesswoman. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to start off. Do you mind telling us exactly where you're from and how you first got involved with acting? We'll start there.
Sure. Well, I mean, I am definitely full-blown American, as you can probably tell the way I speak. Like I don't have a cool accent like you. You know? Even though I guess some people from other countries may think I do.
Yeah.
To each their own.
Your accent's cool to us.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I basically I don't know, just for me, well, originally I was born in San Jose, California. So you're wondering where I came from. Yeah. So US born, in California. But I moved from San Jose, California to Los Angeles. And then from Los Angeles went to New York City area. And then from there I went to like the Tampa Bay, Clearwater, Florida area, St. Pete, Florida area. Basically, I lived in that location. And then I came back to Los Angeles, but I do intend to be more bi-coastal. Like I'd love to have, really nice place here in Los Angeles and also there in Clearwater, Florida area. That's definitely the game plan, to consistently have that set up. And then maybe in Europe one day too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but acting, I actually got started in acting when I got the acting bug in my early 20s. So I did have some, time to get other things situated and kind of just learn, So it was like at the prime time, at the beginning of adulthood, basically, is when I came to realize I really loved acting, basically. And that was my path, right? It's just I had some other lessons to learn in life and certain people to meet in my life, to grow to a certain degree, to actually know with more certainty, that's what I really want to do with my life, basically.
What's your goals for acting, the next year going forward, and where do you see yourself?
Good question. I have really big goals. I'm a real big thinker, like I don't believe in this think small, right? A lot of people will say, oh my gosh, you're thinking way too big there, right? Like, how are you going to achieve that? Like, many, many years ago, I actually just had big goals, like to be an A-list actress, right? I said, this is what's happening. I'm getting to that point. No fail. It's not a point of, just I'm attracted to that idea. No, it's not just an idea, and it's not on a whim or any of that, right? It's like, it's a passion. It's like a duty. I have to, right? It's a point of, I need to make that go right, like no fail, because otherwise I'd be letting down people, right? Like I see it, basically it ties in with being a humanitarian. Like I won't settle for less, and I have to make it go right to be an A-list actress because of the huge goals I have with regards to how many people I want to help out there, right? I won't feel fulfilled if I'm just helping like just a few people here and there. That's not who I am. That is just not who I am. If that's who you are, then totally cool. Not you, but I'm saying like anybody who's listening, if that's your goal, to help just 5 people maybe, and know that you successfully really help those 5 people, fine. I mean, that's you, right? Like, you have to go by what are your personal goals and, feel happy about what you're achieving, but for me, I think humongous, I have to help the millions upon millions of people out there. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet, basically, right? So it's a lot of people to help. So I say millions upon millions, right? I don't say all 8 billion, right? So I do want to be realistic. However, I still think big, right? Because there will be people out there that won't. Like, I'll love everybody and want everybody to do well in life, of course, especially the more well-intentioned people out there. However, I understand not everybody's going to love who I am, really, right? Not everybody out there is going to understand me, right? Only certain people will out there in the world, right? But I'm not going to let that stop me. I have to keep going, move forward on my path, right? And just help as many people as I possibly can. Some people won't want my help, right? And I have to accept that. Like anybody listening, please, like do your best to not waste your energy on those who don't want your help. Just face the facts that not everybody will want your help. Doesn't mean you're not a very helpful and great person, right? Just know steer clear from the ones that want to bring you down, and those who don't want your help, that's just another way of bringing you down, really, with your path, right? So just see for what it is, and that individual is just way too different from you, and they don't understand you. Maybe you're alien to them in a way, right? Okay, fine, so be it, whatever. Not everybody's going to love you. It doesn't mean you're not a lovable person, doesn't mean you're not awesome. You know what I mean? It's just not everybody's going to love you. Like, your close friends maybe will, or those who truly support you. Like, everybody's different on their path, right? So, but anyway, so basically, I mean, my point on saying that is I'm not going to let like haters or anybody who doesn't understand who I am and how the big capacity of love in my heart that I have for people to do well out there and things like this, if people don't understand me, okay, if there's certain people, I should say, that don't understand me, all right, I'm not going to let it stop me from my goals, right? So basically, although acting became like a huge passion of mine in my early 20s, and now I'm going on my 40th birthday, I'm celebrating in October this year, I'm even more ready now for that big step of becoming an A-lister, because of the fact that I'm that much stronger. Like, I don't allow criticism to bring me down. I don't allow, any outside force to determine where my life is going to be, right? Where that's going, like, I feel like it's a timing thing. A person has to be at a specific spot in their life, ready for fame. Like, you can't just want fame. You have to really be ready for it and have the right intentions behind why you want it, right? So I don't think anybody should have fame if they're not using it for the good, right? And yeah, that's definitely my take on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly strong message too. I like it. It's real positive.
Yeah. I try my best, on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The more positive you are and the more intelligent you are, I've come to find that if, the more intelligent you are and the more aware you are and the more upbeat you are,
Yep.
then sometimes that's even going to be, even more reason why haters are going to try to hate on you and bring you down, right? You can't let it stop you. It's like you got to just keep being you, right? And just stay on your path, even though it may be hard sometimes, right? You might give in to, what maybe is being said about you, right? Or whatever. That's why, but whether it's about you or somebody else or others in the world that you care about, like the news as an example, there's a lot of negativity in news. It's about sensationalism, right? Oh, let's see what effect we can create. Stir up the pot and make people feel worried all the time. Let's see all this crap we could stir up and make people feel bad about themselves and mankind, as if everybody's shit and not trustworthy, all of this crap, right? Like, there's more hate being spread and like things to make you think you can't trust most people out there. But in reality, most people out there in the world are good people. Majority are, right? Well-intentioned people you can trust. However, there's a smaller percentage that you have to watch out for, right? And you have to just be aware of that. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel when you surround yourself with specific people, right? And give it time. You can't just give it one time you're around them and, you might feel great then, but then how do you feel if you're consistently around them, right? You need to gauge kind of things properly on like, do I feel better as a result when I'm around this person, or do I feel worse, right? And and it's important not to sometimes do it individually too, because what a person can do is, say if you're like in a group of 4 people, right? You're hanging out with 3 other people in your group. How are you going to determine which one might be creating trouble if those other people in the group make you feel so great about you, right? You feel great in their company. Whereas the other person maybe behind the scenes is trying to make you guys feel bad or whatever. But then because you're feeling good from the other people, you may think everything's all great potentially, right? So no, you have to hang out with people on an individual basis sometimes to kind of determine like, is this person actually a good person that I should be hanging out with? Do they actually help enhance how I'm doing in life, or do they make it worse, right? Yeah.
Definitely. That's pretty cool. And yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like a psychologist as well.
Oh, well, I appreciate the compliment on you. I know you're trying to say like, that I'm very wise beyond my years, right?
Yeah.
However, no, so I do appreciate that. However, I wanted to actually, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that, because I was actually explaining to somebody recently, if you break down the word, I don't know if you do this. Do you ever break down words and like derivations of words and meanings behind words? Do you
No,
ever?
no.
Okay, well, it's actually pretty intriguing because then you find out where did this word actually come from, how long ago, and you see the change between like the years on like the meaning of the word, right?
Yeah.
And did it come from two different cultures or like one culture only? One, like, did it come from England only, or was it from Latin too? How did it evolve, basically, right? It's very intriguing when you don't just look at the definition of a word, but you look at the derivation too. So anyway, why I mention that is because you mentioned the psychology thing, right? If you break down the word psychology and what it means, it actually comes from psyche. And if you break down psyche even more, it's broken down to soul, like, having to do with you spiritually, like as a spirit, right? As a
Yeah.
soul. So I think most people out there believe that they're a spiritual being, like majority of people, right? I would say
Yeah.
whether a person believes they go to heaven or a person believes in the afterlife, reincarnation or another life, like they get another body and, continue living, right? Whatever their belief is. I think majority believe that they're a spiritual being usually, right? So on that note, the only issue is when it comes to psychology, they focus on the brain, right? The brain is everything, right? So, and the brain is a part of the body.
Yeah.
What happens to the brain when the body dies?
Yeah.
Right?
Dies. Yeah.
It dies with the body, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So does the brain go with you, whether you believe in reincarnation or next lifetime, right? And you keep living more
Yeah.
lives and lives, or whether you believe you go to heaven, whatever your belief is,
Yeah.
it can't be true that the brain is the same as the mind, right? Because you don't bring the brain
Yeah.
with you. You know what I mean?
That's another good one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, I am very good about helping people, and I have this capability to help people big time, with my knowledge and what I can impart and how I can guide them in the right direction, what books maybe or courses they could take that will help them, right? I could totally do that because I've gained a lot of help myself with specific self-help books, and but the right ones, though, not the ones that give you
Yeah.
false information, right? That gives you the true data. So like
Yeah.
when it comes to psychology, unfortunately, even though some people that
Excuse
field want to help people, like a lot of them that get into that field do really want to help people, right? However, though, like it's on this premise that you're only the brain and you're a body, right? And I don't believe that. I believe you're a spiritual being, that you have a lot of capabilities, right? And you're way beyond, like you're definitely not a body. You're not an
Yeah.
animal, you know what I mean? Like you're so
Yeah.
capable. Like it's wild how capable we all are as individual beings, And
Definitely.
unfortunately, society creates this like message that, oh my gosh, you're so small. Just, don't think big. You're not very capable. Just stay in your little bubble always, right? And don't get out there. Don't help, too much. Just, don't go beyond helping a few people. No, right? There's so many weird messages, right, that bring us down. And I
Yeah.
don't believe in that. I believe every individual, every good-hearted person out there, they have messages to say. They have a lot of good to give to people, and they just need to get themselves out there, right? And not give into the hype of society telling them that they should only do the 9 to 5 forevermore, maybe, and stay in one location forevermore, never travel the world, like all these false things that are being spread. Like, how do you expect to help to the degree you want to if you don't ever travel the world and you don't get out there in the trenches, you know what I mean? And meet
Yeah.
people and greet people, right?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah. So for me, a huge goal that I have is, yes, get to that A-list status, right? But I want to do it so that way I can travel the world more easily, right? For big artistic, goals of mine, big artistic projects as an actress and also producer at some point as well. Because I do like the production end of things too, and I love problem solving, helping on the production end of things for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I want to impact broadly, right? I want to be able to be interviewed for something, and then my message gets out to millions of people right there, and just my positivity helps people maybe think at their life differently, and so they want to go out there and help more people, right? And actually realize they're way more capable, right? You know, like I would love to help create that effect beyond for the millions and millions out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I wanted to ask you, business owner as well.
Yeah.
On top of that, you got VIP treatment for you.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about that one first, and then we'll get to your other business as well?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I named it VIP treatment for you initially because I wanted all good-hearted people to feel like they're VIPs. I don't believe in this, that you should only be deemed a VIP in society based on normal society standards of their let's just say those who aren't well-intentioned want to spread the message that a VIP only means somebody who's famous, right? But that's not the case, right? There are so many VIPs out there in this world, you know, that actually just don't know that they're capable to becoming famous and capable of getting out there to the world, right? And getting in the trenches and helping millions upon millions of people out there and affecting them for the better, right? And helping with starvation on a broad scale, helping with illiteracy on a broad scale, helping with the drug problem on a broad scale, et cetera, you know, the abuses with regards to human trafficking, you know, drug trafficking, all of that stuff. Like there are so many capabilities we all have, right? And basically, I wanted all good, hard people out there to realize, no, you are a VIP. Yes, you are. And you can get to that famous status if that's your choice. Like if you don't want fame, okay, totally cool. But however, I would like you to at least take a look at what you are capable of, right? Know that you are capable way more than you probably realize. And that with the impact you can create. Like if you take a look at the film, a great example is the film, what is it? It's that Christmas film. It's a Wonderful Life, right? Take a look
at. That's my favorite movie. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's cool. I see, and we didn't even prep for this interview at all. It's totally unscripted, right? So it's like that's funny. That is funny. I say funny as in interesting. That of all films I bring up in this interview is one of your favorites. That's cool. That film is very impactful in a positive manner, right? I mean, there are some sad moments in it for sure. And, you know, sadness kind of can bring somebody down a little bit in films, you know, sometimes, but there is the ultimate message. The ultimate message in it is a very beautiful message that you're way more important than you realize, right? On like it, one person can impact so much good, right? And so the fact that if he was never born, how the other person would have just died and never would have survived, right? And done the impactful things, right? So like, and it's not even just one person. There's so much more that if you didn't exist, there'd be so many other people that would have never turned into the good people that they are to this day, right? There's so much, I would say the unfortunate thing is a lot of negativity gets pushed on us on the day-to-day, right? You know, in each year, whereas, you know, we're told, no, don't do this. No, don't do that. No. All this, we start that out in our lives, right? When we're kids, like all this stop, you know, stop, don't do this, don't do that, right? Like discouragement from actually just discovering things for yourself, right? So there's that, but there's also just negative pressures in society, you know, all this message is just being spread that you're not very capable of achieving a lot, right? And so instead of it being, you know what, I'm thankful that you exist because of X, Y, and Z, because you did this for me, I'm a better person to this day. Like there's not enough acknowledgement for people, I feel, and that needs to change. We all just need to agree. Let's give better acknowledgement, right? So I feel
for sure, yeah,
right? Like, I mean, can you imagine how much better this world would be if we just all acknowledged each other more on like, wow, thank you so much for you existing. Like instead of us having to second guess things and wonder, am I really impacting people's lives for the better? You know, because the more acknowledgement we get on that, I feel it would encourage people to keep doing it, right? Where if they don't get encouraged, if they don't, if they don't get acknowledged in some case scenarios, it might stop it, right? They might have done some really good things. And then because they're not getting any acknowledgement, I'm not talking about being selfish and needing like acknowledgments because of selfishness. I'm not at all. But I think everybody needs to know that they're doing good, that,
Yeah.
and it helps them. Like, in school, if you get a little award or, some stickers and stuff. Oh my God, here's some cool stars you just won, got on your paper because you did so excellent. Of course it makes you feel good and you're like pumped up. Yeah, I'm going to kick some butt. I'm going to do even better next time. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, right? If it helps you motivate you in the right direction, right? If it goes in the wrong direction, then something went wrong, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, oh my God, did that answer your question? Wait, we were talking about Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life, right? So,
Yeah. From
just
there, from
yeah.
VIP treatment for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. On why I named it VIP treatment for you. So had that in mind. Basically, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that they're very important,
Yeah.
and then but I also knew that I was going to be famous A-lister actress in the future too. So I kind of was thinking on both ends. I wanted to cater to those who aren't yet famous, but also cater to those who are famous, like thinking
Yeah.
with that at some point I will be famous and I will be surrounded by fellow famous artists, right? I mean, technically I already have been a little bit, I've gone to networking events, I was actually at the Producers Guild of America event, right? Which is filled with only celebrities, those known in the Producers Guild of America, right? Of America, where they're like top producers, top
Yeah.
actors, actresses in the field, right? Of the
Yeah.
industry. So basically, when I went to that event, I just felt very honored, to be there. But I felt like I'm with my people here, like I
That's
felt
cool.
like I'm with. I wasn't taking pictures with anybody. I wasn't like, like, because I'm not a fan, like what society says, what what a fan is, right? I wasn't like going, oh my goo goo gaga over anybody
Yeah.
that was in attendance, right? Because that, I felt like I was with my fellows, right? At the same level of like, good, even though fine, I am not known as a top producer of the industry yet. I knew that that's where I would be though in the future, right? And not a top A-list actress yet, but I was owning it, right? I was like, this is where I belong. I'm owning this. This is my future in the very near future, right? So, yeah. Anyway, I loved being there live. That was an awesome experience, and
Yeah. That would have
speeches.
been cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in
Um,
Los Angeles at the right time, for that event.
yeah, that's perfect. Right place, right time.
Yeah. Sorry. I wasn't even getting into like more details about the purpose of my business and everything. So
No,
with
go ahead.
VIP treatment for you, I was also looking at how I want to, get commercial TV film projects going, right? So whether it's with my own production company or so VIP treatment for you is also registered as a production company and event company. So originally I was thinking with doing events to help artists, have more seasoned artists in the industry speak to less seasoned in the industry. So that way they can kind of give them some stability, help them move up, right? If they actually run with the information and actually apply it to their lives, right? So I just want to do my part in helping good-hearted artists to move up in the industry, right? I don't like seeing artists give up their path, especially if they're thinking like me on a broad scale and wanting to help impact all over the world, right, for the better. I want to help where I can build them up, right? So that's what I was thinking with when creating the company, right? And also helping businesses at the same time, because businesses can be business sponsors for my events that I have. So it will help them get their name out there. Like right now I'm doing an interview with you, so I could easily be like, do shout outs for other businesses too, right? Like there's other interviews, there's radio, there's magazines, you name it. There's the backdrops for the events, right? For red carpet type events. That their logos could be attached to, things like that. So I'm looking for businesses that want to sponsor events that I'll be putting on, right? And also that want me to maybe me and my team to advertise for them specific products or services, things like this, right? Are they looking for brand ambassadors? Are they looking for actors, actresses, specific types of people to advertise for them, right? So that's the whole concept with my business, to help business owners and also actors, actresses, and filmmakers as best as possible, which also incorporates singers, musicians, and dancers as well, right? Because naturally a lot of actors, actresses also like to dance and sing too, right?
Yeah.
Triple
Yeah.
threats,
Cover
all of that
everything.
good stuff, right? Like, right, a little bit of everything, right? Or sometimes maybe some actors, actresses don't realize they have those other talents too, and then they try it out at some point, right? And then they surprise themselves like, ooh, I actually am good at that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am just all around just wanting to help artists as much as I possibly can, and business owners as well. Businesses grow too. There's the PR and image aspect too. Like I have a partnership with somebody who's been on national television, right, and also in magazines, like some of the top ones. And basically, I have a partnership with her where I can send somebody her way, right, to get, like, say if they're female, to get specific makeup that's very good, like it's made out of minerals, and doesn't have all these like parabens in them. Hopefully I said that right, parabens, like the toxicities and stuff, right? So basically it's lacking those things, so it's actually better for you to put on your skin, right? And so there's specific makeup from her website that you get as a part of a package deal that I offer with my business, where there's that, and also getting a special one-on-one consultation with her where she'll actually go over things very thoroughly for you specifically, whether a male or female, on what you should be wearing attire-wise, what type of attire, like colors-wise and things like this, to enhance you even more, like your attributes, to make you stand out even more, right? Based on your hair color and things like that, right? Because a lot of actors, actresses, and even business owners, or, they're people that, work for that company, things like this. A lot of people may not actually know what enhances their attributes enough, right? What makes them look even better, like make their eyes pop even more, their hair pop even more, and things like this, right? A lot of times women might be wearing some excessive makeup or the fake eyelashes or something, this and that, trying to enhance their beauty, right? However, sometimes it's overdone and it doesn't enhance the beauty enough, right? It actually retracts from the beauty, the natural beauty, right? So a lot of times all that needs to be fixed is, okay, wear the proper colors for you, and then your beauty is going to be enhanced, period. You're going to stand out that much more for your headshots, for your corporate shots, whatever you need, right? So anyway, so I have this partnership, right? And it's awesome because she caters to celebrities and non-celebrities both. So any company that helps come on board, and a partnership with me and my company, or wants to do a sponsorship and things like this, for events and all that, I want to make sure that their company does live by the VIP name, right? That we're going to cater and help, to a huge degree, right? And actually give a really great product or service, right? Just setting a very good example, basically. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the standard, at least I uphold, because of the name, right? I can't just have anybody be a sponsor for my events, right? I have to pick and choose and be very particular, right? I could say, oh, yeah, I'll let anybody pay me. All good. No, sorry. I need to think with the name VIP, and I need to think with giving a great product and service to those who I help service, right? The artists and business and things like that, right? So, yeah,
that's cool. You got your standards and stick by them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anybody has to keep with their, the standards, because then you'll just feel better in life, right? You'll be happier in life. You can't settle for less. You have to think with your integrity on things, right? So if you think something's wrong, then don't do it, right? Because then that's where people live in regret, right? Where they did something that they knew they shouldn't have done, right? They knew, wait, something's telling me I shouldn't go that route, right? You need to trust yourself. Most of the time you're right. Like, you got to trust what you're thinking at the moment, right? Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. That's spot on. I wanted to ask you also about your other business, Surprise Supplements. You seem to be doing everything. That's cool.
Well, I mean, with Surprise Supplements, that came about because of the fact that Well, a friend got me connected up to a way how I could do it, you know, more inexpensively, because there's like false information out there that says you can only create a supplement brand if you have so much money up front, right? You know, whether you're tight on money or you're a multimillionaire, you're always going to be thinking with how much you can save usually, right? I think most people think with that, right? So, I mean, billionaires out there will communicate that. Always learn. Very important to keep consistently learning true information, right? From the right sources, right? That will help get you to where they're at, right? And they'll also communicate to, oh yeah, lost my train of thought. Sorry. But just knowledge is power, that you have to keep getting true knowledge, right? And there's a lot of other good things. Oh, about the saving point, that even if you're like multimillionaire or billionaire, you always have to think with still making sure that you do right by your money and don't just blow it, right? Like invest it into things, right? Into the right nonprofits to help people on a broad scale, right? Invest it in maybe real estate, you know, to help people with living situations, you know, help them so they're not struggling as much, but then where you also have that steady income flow, right? Because real estate's pretty, you know, consistent in that sense. And or just invest in yourself too. Like, I mean, for me as an example, I'd be investing in going all over the world so I can help, you know, be out there in the trenches and help people, right? I don't want to just be one of those people, you know, helping with money and here's some money to help you with this situation. I want to know my money is actually going to, you know, what I want it to go to, right? So I want to be out there and see the effects it's creating. I don't just want to give it and that's it and hope for the best, right? I want to be like, okay, let me see it in action. If it's going to be for Habitat for Humanity or something, I want to go see, you know, oh, them building the homes and stuff. You know, I want to be there helping building the homes. Like, I mean, maybe not like all those months, you know, because I have to do my artistic creations, you know, and other humanitarian work, right? But like, at least get in there and at least be part of it to a certain degree, right? You know, I want to be out there in the trenches. If I want to help, you know, make sure children and adults stay away from drugs, I want to make sure that I have a massive team all over the world educating at, you know, a lot of schools and stuff, you know, doing talks, you know, at a lot of events, doing talks about the importance of being a drug-free marshal and what that means for society at large, et cetera, educate on the importance of staying away from specific drugs, statistics, all of that, right? I want to be there helping talk about it, you know, or helping like, okay, great. Like I said, build a team to do the talks around the world, you know, be more proactive, right? I don't like being on the sidelines, let's just say. I want to, you know, so my ideal.
Putting the work in,
Yeah, the ideal thing is like I'm nonstop. I never have any time to like just. I'll be one of those actresses, you know, and humanitarians barely have any time to even watch TV or films. Maybe once in a while, I'll squeeze it in, right? I want to be so active. I'll barely have any time for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But except for research purposes or something, you know, watch it till you're like, okay, let's see, what producer would I like to work with? What director? What actor? Right? Obviously, that's very important to consistently do your research and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, but surprise supplements. Yeah. I chose the name because I was thinking, okay, there'd be some really cool things you could do with that marketing wise, right? You know, like as an example, like who doesn't like to stuff their hand and arm in like a stocking at Christmas time, right? And just kind of guess what am I holding here? What is that? What's in that? And then the surprise, something popping out, right? And you're like, oh my God, so awesome. Woo. You know, it's just fun. Like, didn't you like that? Didn't you love that? You did that, right? During
time,
right? With the
definitely,
stocking? It's fun stuff. Like, I don't know anybody who does that doesn't have fun with that, right? As a kid and stuff.
Yeah, everyone loves that.
Right? So basically, that was kind of the viewpoint I had. I was like, you know, where I want people to get the supplement products from my brand and just have that joy attached to it. Like, ooh, surprise, you know? And so, and like it being a good surprise, right? You know, because I think that most people out there think when they think the word surprise, it means a positive usually for them, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted people to think on a positive front whenever they got my supplements. And I wanted to also spread a great message, beautiful message with any of catchphrases and things like this. So on my on the label of the bottle, right, that I chose, I put a catchphrase on each label, and it's a very positive catchphrase on each one. And just so anytime a person's thinking with it, like I'll give you an example, like with joint support, it helps with your joints, right? So that way, say if you're a dancer, athlete, regularly exercise, it's great for that. Of course, take care of your joints, right? And because, you're overworking it. If you're, consistently exercising, things like this, you have to support the bones, the joints, right? But it's also for, the elderly too, of course, as you age, right? You have risk of, going downhill with regards to the, bone structure and everything, right? It's depending. So supplements are good to take. So it helps you with that, right? But so I wanted it to be more than just this communication about taking better care of your joints. I wanted there to be also this added awesome communication. So I have a picture on joint support. I have a picture of dancers, like a woman and man together dancing, right? And like they're really connected with each other, like they're really close. And so you can clearly tell that they're dancers, right? So basically to communicate that, hey, take this product, take good care of your joints, right? Make sure they're good, right? To encourage kind of you to dance, encourage you to just have fun in life, exercise, take care of the body, and also take the supplement to help give you that help on the joints, right? But also to have the added communication about how it's important to be in the right relationship. Joint support, right? Because relationships should be about true support on both sides, right? And unfortunately, there are a lot of individuals out there that settle for less on the relationship front, right? They're stuck in relationships where the other individual's not respecting them enough, right? There's this like one person not making them feel that great about themselves or whatever, right? If you don't feel good about yourself in a relationship, then clearly it's not the right relationship for each other. Like you should feel happy. I don't believe in this false information saying, oh yeah, it's great to have drama in a relationship or it's great to fight and blah, blah, blah. What the heck is that? No. Sorry. Yeah. If you enjoy soap operas, watching soap operas, all right, but don't have one in your real life. You know what I mean? Like real relationship should not be a soap opera. There should be trust. There should be full-on trust where you don't have any doubts that that individual is there for you, right? And is doing right by you and completely in awe about being with you and love you completely. Like they're not wavering or thinking about wavering away from the relationship, right? Or if somebody for one instant is thinking, oh, I'm going to waver, then correct that right away and find out what is going on here. Why am I thinking about this, right? If you truly love that person, you're going to correct that so fast and not even have that continue at all, right? Right away when you notice any wavering, like, oh, I checked out somebody and I was really liking it, right? That wasn't the person you're with or whatever. Like, take a look at that. Why did that happen? That's a red flag, right? Shouldn't be happening. So I'm very faithful to the point where I met somebody February 25th. I met somebody, right? And I'm like, yep, I'm going to marry him. This is my man, to the point where, okay, we're not even dating, right? It balls in his court to move forward on it if he wants to, right? All I know is, he's a busy man and I completely respect what he has to do. And he's busy all over the world doing what he has to do. I'm not going to interrupt what he needs to do. He's like completely support what he's up to, right? Artistically and such. So like up to him, basically. All I know is he knows I'm interested and he has my contact info.
Nice.
And like, but I'm so dedicated to the point where I'm like, I have to be honest. Like I've had guys since then, interested in me, but I have to be honest with them. And I say flat out, hey, I met somebody and although we're not dating yet, I have to be true to that. It's my, it's like, just, when you know something, right? You have to trust yourself, right? And you can't waver from that. If you know something's right and that you're right for each other and you have the same capacity to love, on a broad scale, you can't just settle,
Yeah.
I'm just where I'm at in my life now. I just know that basically I'm ready for that power couple status, right? So we can together help on a even broader scale, right?
Yeah,
together.
definitely.
Like millions upon millions. No, not just millions. Now we're going to get to together as a team helping all the 8 billion people out there, right?
Yeah.
That's how it should be. If you're with the right person, it's not, it's thinking more, right? You accomplish more, you move on up, you do better as a result, right? On a lot of aspects of life, right? So if you see yourself dwindling and things not going as well, then you obviously know that you're not really with the right person. You should be moving up with each other, right? Not to say that you won't have some things you have to discuss and go over, and like conflicts or whatever once in a while. I think any relationship has things they have, where you have to go over certain things, right? Like, oh my God, I disagree with this one, but you should be able to be very free about the communication, open, and not be worried to communicate to your loved one, right? I mean, it's a big red flag if you feel you can't communicate to the person you're with. You should be very open with the communication. Otherwise, that's, to me, at least, I feel that's a red flag. If you can't feel you can't, right? So, yeah. But yeah, so that was the kind of story on why I decided to do that with the joint support, because I wanted people to, get that message, because I really want people to be with the person they truly should be with. Because if everybody out there didn't settle and everybody was really with the right person for them, and they were truly happy with that individual because they're both on the same path, then can you imagine how much better this world would be if everybody did that, right? It would just so much better. You can't be with someone that has a way total different viewpoint on life than you. That just doesn't work. Somebody who wants to do something entirely different than you, like, meaning if you think big and you have big goals in life that you want to accomplish, and the other person thinks very small and very petty, like how is that going to work? That's not going to work, right? It just won't. One thinks on a petty level, and the other thinks, on a very loving high level of thinking, right?
Definitely.
It's, eventually it's not going to work, right? So I want everybody to be in a very happy relationship, so yeah.
So we talked before, how you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
That'd be my favorite movie. What's your top 3 favorite movies of all time?
Good question. Oh man, top 3. All right. That's a hard one, but Hidden Figures is definitely one of my favorites. I would just say because I love the truth factor of Hidden Figures, where I feel that it opens that door of letting people know that, sometimes in history class, we're not taught everything we should be taught, right? There's some untruths taught, or there's some omission of information that is not cool. We need to learn all the facts on like what really happened, because especially on like the spiritual level, if you feel you're a spiritual being and you've lived past lives, I don't know, some people believe that, right? Everybody's different on their beliefs. Some people do, some people don't, right? But if you do believe in that's a possibility, then it's kind of like one of those things of like, maybe you were a part of that history, right? So if you're being taught in your history class and there's nonsense being discussed and you're given false information, then you're not going to necessarily feel good about the information you're being taught, right? You're gonna be like, something won't sit right with you. Like, wait a sec, that doesn't seem right, like in history class, to me, sometimes I felt that way. I was like, something that's off about that history. I think there's some false information being spread there or something, right? Sometimes I had this feeling, right? Then later on in life, I realized that it's because that potential of the fact that, okay, maybe we have lived before, right? Thinking about that, like, maybe I was a part of that history, and no wonder I felt like they were fibbing a little bit about this history, right? Anyway, with Hidden Figures, why I love that film is because it gave you that truth of that African-American women had a huge, huge importance with regards to getting man on the moon, right? From the US, right? If it wasn't for specifically one African-American lady, right, that the film goes over, then it would have been majorly delayed, right? Why we weren't the first ones to get somebody to the moon was because of the fact that there was this, at the time, the racism happening, right? And also you know, even the things with women, you know, back then of like, you know, being held down a little bit, like, oh, you're only good in the kitchen kind of a viewpoint back then, right? You're only good as a wife and that's it, right? Be the, you know, be at home all the time. But whereas in that film, it was, okay, powerful woman in the corporate world, right? At NASA, you know, and on top of that, African American, right? So it was like, wow, very powerful message, right? That she had enough confront and, or maybe enough like, I'm trying to say, what's another way of saying it? You could say cojones, but she's a woman, so not a man, you know? But like, she had a massive like confront, and she said, you know, I'm making this go right. Like she defied the odds. It goes to show you how strong of a woman she was, right? The fact that even though there was that pressure of society then about that women aren't as good as they are, right? And African American individuals being, you know, held down then, the oppression then, right? Even with that, she defied the odds, and she was there at NASA, right? And she said, this is what's that, you know, and she was just such a genius, right? And helped get, you know, us to the moon, right? And I was just like, oh my, anyways, you get why I love it. You know, I'm like, it just, I love any film that it speaks truth, you know, it's going over history and it's feeding, or it's filling the gaps, right, of what we're not taught in our history class and things like this, right? Anything that's realistic and gives you the truth and lets you learn about some very important aspects of our own history that we may have lived before, right? And so, yeah, so there's that on that one film. Oh my goodness, it's so hard. Top 3, huh?
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of favorite films, not just 3. But okay, a more recent film I would say is Top Gun 2 or Top Gun Maverick, right? I would say, because of the fact of all the good messages that it had in the film. Because if you really listen to it and you're really there with the film, right, you get all the good messages of like camaraderie, and also, you know, don't leave any man behind, right? Which is a very important message, you know, be there for each other and mankind, things like this, right? That you're way more capable than you realize. Like anything that spreads that message, I'm all about, right? And so in that one, remember how in the film there was this part of, oh, you can't accomplish that. No, like there was that individual, that character saying, no, you guys can't do this mission, right? No way in heck you're gonna make it and stuff. You're gonna fail, or all of you guys are going to, right? Basically discouraging it from happening. But then, but then the Maverick, right, character was obviously like, nope, we're doing this. Let's do it, you know? And so, like, defying the odds again. I just love any story that really communicates this message of you can defy the odds, right? Okay, yes, maybe statistically, in a lot of case scenarios, maybe something usually might not be able to be accomplished, right? But that's for the individual that doesn't think as big, right? Yeah, you have to be realistic, of course, of your capabilities. But the thing is, in a lot of case scenarios, you limit your capabilities, right? I mean, the gymnasts, as an example, to this day, right, that, you know, are Olympic winners, right, you know, in that area. Do you think at the beginning they thought they were going to be an Olympic winner? Probably not, right? You know, it took a lot of practice and like them realizing with the practice that, wow, I'm actually really good at this, right? You know, extra good at this. And they had to perfect their skills. They had to get to that point of realizing how capable they were in the area, right? They may have thought to a certain degree they were, but then they improved even more on that trust in themselves, right? So the difference with, or the Maverick characters, he was already very well seasoned, right? And he already had plenty of years, you know, of experience to know that he knew that that could be accomplished, right? And so it was his duty to then, you know, teach the guys that were newer, right, you know, to flying and everything, and like, no, you can do this. And, you know, other pilots that were way less seasoned, right? And so I just like the fact that there was that good message of like being a very good leader, right? And showing others how a leader should be, right? And it made me want to fly, honestly. I was like, let's do this. I want to be in my own my jet and go fly.
That's awesome.
I was like, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. You're motivated.
Right. And I feel that it uplifted people. Right. So I really liked that film a lot, because I was just, I was very touched, basically, because I knew that by people watching that film, it was going to give them a very good feeling, right, about mankind, about each other, wanting to, get to know people more and stuff, and maybe give flying a chance, right, and see where that takes them, right, or like getting them to think with their capabilities that they're more capable than they realize, things like that, right? So yeah, I like that film a lot, for sure. So I respect everybody that was involved in that one, all the crew and actors, actresses. And the third one, let's see. The question is, am I gonna name a romantic comedy? I know I'm female, so probably a lot of people would be thinking on their end, listening to me, she's gonna say some romantic comedy, isn't she? Let's see. Ay. Oh man. Top 3 is tough. Okay.
Nice.
Well, because like I said, I like so many, right? I mean, what came to mind when I was thinking like romantic comedy, at least, one of my favorite romantic comedies is probably the what was it called? Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, I believe, that Matthew McConaughey was in, and Jennifer Garner. Yeah. I like that one a lot because, it gives you an understanding of how people can change, right, over time. And it gives you an idea of like how a person can, make mistakes with certain things, right? And as they grow as an individual, they realize certain things that at that time when they were younger and more immature, they didn't know, right? So it kind of gives you a good idea that you have to just give yourself time to grow and have more life experiences, to just, know a little bit more about yourself and grow. And you can't just expect that maybe when you're in your teenage years or your 20s or something that you know everything already, right? There's always more to learn. I feel that film kind of communicates that there's always more to learn, and anything that communicates that, I'm for that, right? Because no matter where you're at in life, I feel that there's always more to learn, basically. I feel that a person is being ignorant if they think otherwise, if they think that, oh yeah, I'm good, I learned everything I wanted to learn, and there's nothing more to learn. Even those who are at the top, like the A-list actors, actresses, there's always more to learn, right? Like when you go on a new set, you're going to be on a new set with possibly new crew, possibly new actors and actresses completely, right, in comparison to the previous one. Of course, there's going to be more to learn because you're working with different people. Everybody's going to be a little different, right, on how they operate on set, right? And whenever I'm on set, I take it as a learning experience, and I'm like, what else can I learn? What can I learn here? Like when I was on set for Joker, the first Joker film, there in recent weeks, they were filming the second one with Joaquin Phoenix, right? When I was on set a few days for the first one, I had the privilege of being right there where the director was, right? He was like right there in almost arm's distance from me, and also Joaquin Phoenix, and also the assistant director as well, right? And so when we weren't filming one time, I was just observing them because I wanted to see, okay, maybe I can hear what they were saying, and also because they were going over the takes and things like this, right? I kind of wanted to learn as much as I could and observe what they were doing and everything, right? And so anyway, they saw me observing them, right? And they gave me a big smile, right? And I got this feeling that it wasn't just them smiling and that's it. It was them communicating non-verbally that they appreciated that I was there. Like they could tell I appreciated them and what they do right on set, and that they could tell I was just observing and like I was happy to be there, right? And so they were basically in their way, non-verbally saying thank you, right, for the help. And so that was a nice experience, and I was almost on they took a lot of takes, right? This was the subway scene, the chase scene where Joaquin,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know, when I was there right by them and everything. The cop scene where they were chasing him, right? Chasing Joker. So basically, I was so close to being on the big screen on that for that one.
Yeah.
But you know, they took so many takes, and yeah, I would have been seen right with Joaquin, but they ended up editing it out. But it's totally cool. It's all good. I looked a lot different then. So, and
Yeah.
so, you know, sometimes things are a blessing in disguise, right? So I'm like, okay, that wasn't the timing. That wasn't meant for me to be on the big screen yet, right?
Yeah.
My time is when I'm going to have a big supporting character role or like a main principal role for the big screen, right? I'm like, yes, that's when I'm going to be on the big screen.
Yeah, for sure.
So I could take
Definitely.
pride. But yeah, there's other films that I love too. Those aren't necessarily, you know, let's just say there are other films that I also think are at that same level of those films too. So I don't have top 3 really. You know, I have others I could name as well, but you just asked for 3, so.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. What about you? What about you? What are your favorite top 3?
I'd probably say It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodfellas.
Yeah.
And probably Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like older films, I guess. But yeah, same time, yeah, I can change them. But I'd say It's a Wonderful Life always stays
Yeah.
my favorite that I can watch over and over.
That's
But the
cool.
other two will change every now and then.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I actually love that Joker movie.
The which one?
The Joker one that you're
Oh, the
talking about.
first Joker one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, it was a little too serious. That's my viewpoint, though. You know, they did a great job of making it sad and serious for sure. So I could give them accolades for that. But I'm more into the upbeat stuff. You know, I prefer the stories that are more uplifting. You know, that don't make you feel so like sad or like serious. Yeah. But, you know, but at the same time, you got to respect anybody that does big budget films and stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, what that takes. Oh my goodness gracious. No matter how it ends up results wise in the box office or whatever, you have to give anybody, all the crew and actresses involved, you got to give them accolades for real. Like, and acknowledge that, wow, you just accomplished a huge thing here that many out there in the world don't, right? It takes persistence and a lot of great talent and everything, right? And smarts and all of that, and persistence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, there's another one, classics wise, right? A classic film that I just thought of, right? That I like Funny Girl a lot.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that I was very impressed by that when very entertaining. And I was, you know, there's a lot of films that people should watch that don't watch. I feel like a lot of the classics and stuff, I think nowadays, instead of nowadays, children and like preteen and teenagers, instead of them being on social media for so much, right? It's watching too much on the social media and things like this. I think there needs to be a better balance, and parents should probably encourage them, hey, let's watch some classics right now, you know?
Definitely. That's a good idea.
Right? You know, I mean, depending on the age, obviously, right? You know, like certain things you're not going to have them watch if they're too young or whatever, right? You want to make sure they understand the storyline, obviously. But I think I loved a lot of Disney films when I was growing up too, right?
And Disney's great.
Yeah. But I think it was even better when I was growing up, though.
Yeah, I think so. I like all the older ones.
Yeah, exactly. I think when it got into the later years when Disney wasn't around anymore, when he passed, right? I think it changed, you know. I liked them a little bit more when he was around, right? But not to say that they're not good. It's just a different feel for them. So,
definitely.
you know, the ones that were before. Yeah. anyhow.
Yeah. Definitely a different feeling.
Yeah. Goes to show you, it's so much can change if a different person's the head of the whole thing, right? You have a different CEO, it could totally change big time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, one person can make all that difference.
And it depends on how they grew up too. I mean,
Yeah.
Disney was his age, so he obviously grew up a certain way, was born when he was born. So that gave him a little different viewpoint on certain things, right? Whereas the individuals taking over after him, obviously were different, right? They grew up differently, learned differently, right? Different era, right? So of course it's going to change a little bit. So
yeah. No, that's cool. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of good topics, so it's been really good. Yeah,
and you have your cool accent, I know this is you interviewing me, so I'm the one that talks more, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like you should talk more too. I'm like, hey, you have that cool accent. People are gonna listen to you too, because you have that cool accent.
I don't think so. Thanks, I appreciate you saying that though. If you could recommend a book to anyone, what book would you recommend that would help someone? I'll finish on that.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Again, hard because I know a lot of good books, right? Let's see. I mean, I could recommend, like, on the entrepreneurial front, business front, right? I could recommend books by Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone. Basically, Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone help many people out there, on a broad scale, right? When it comes to business, thinking big, and not settling for less, right? That it's way beyond 9 to 5. And they educate in the area of like finances, business and how they can expand. Elena is all about motivating other women, and making sure women understand how valuable they are too. That it's not just about being a mother and it's not just about being a wife, right? But it's way beyond that, right? So I'm a huge believer in that a woman shouldn't be defined just by, who they're going to end up marrying, or who they're married to, or if they're single, not married yet by a certain age, or they don't have kids. Or I don't think a woman should be defined as valuable based on just that they're married or they're in a long-term relationship or that they have a baby, right? It's like, no. Your value is determined by the effects you create out there on a broad scale, right? What are you doing in your life to help people, right? That's where your value is determined, right? And so my mindset is like, everybody has their game to play out there. And Elena and Grant play big games. They're helping a lot of people out there, right? They don't think small at all. So I completely respect that, and they've helped a lot of people. So I recommend, reading books that they have out there that encourage people to think beyond, right? And for me, I don't have any kids, and for me, I love kids. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've helped a lot of kids along the way, but I choose not to be a mother, right? Just because I feel technically I'm more like the mother of mankind, right? Like, there's so many kids out there that need my help. That's the viewpoint I have, right? So I know myself enough to know that if I had 1, 2, or 3 kids, I would have so much attention on them only, right? I would be so worried about how they're doing, things like this. All my energy would go toward them, right? Whereas I know that my duty is to help the millions upon millions of kids out there that need my help, right? Like, I want to help them get a better education. So anything that helps along the lines of a person getting a better education too, right? So those books on the business front, I would recommend. With regards to, I was introduced to a book a long time ago. You remember how you mentioned thinking I was a psychologist?
Yeah.
And how I mentioned about the difference between the brain and the mind, right? The reason why I know how to explain it like that is I had this realization with regards to the brain and the mind, that helped give me good direction and why people act the way they act and how you can help other people. And the more you understand about people, the more you can get along better with people, right? The more you know about others, the more you learn about yourself. That's what I believe, right? So it's very important to get get to know more people out there. The more people you know, you'll feel more stable in general, right? You'll feel happier. You'll feel better about yourself because you know more about who you are as an individual, right? And so this book, it's called Evolution of a Science. So I had this realization when I read Evolution of a Science about the brain and the mind, right? And how they're separate. I was like, oh my goodness, I could explain this to even like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, and they'd understand, right? How I explained it to you.
Yeah.
I explain it to everybody like that because I wanted to make sure they understood that we're not a body, right? We have a body, yes, but we're not a body. The brain dies with the body, right? So clearly the mind's different, you know?
Yeah.
So that helped me understand so much more about myself and made me realize, wow, I'm a spiritual being. I'm not just a body.
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean? Even though I already knew that kind of to a certain degree, it just came home to me even more, and it gave me that much more solidification on it, right? And more stability in that area of like recognition, right? Of, wow, I'm very capable. I can achieve a lot, kind of a viewpoint, right? And help me understand more about mankind and other people. So then I could, in turn, learn more about myself too, right? And do better. So yeah, I would recommend that with regards to if you're interested in learning more about the mind, and your capabilities and why people act the way they act, basically, like, irrationality sometimes, where that's coming from, right? So that one I highly recommend. And trying to think on any other ones at the moment. I mean, those are the top books I would recommend. Well, I mean, with Elena Cardone's book, it's like Building an Empire is one, right, that she wrote to encourage you to think big, right? So that's one. There's a lot that Grant have written. I would just check it out and see for yourself which ones appeal to you the most, right? And then I just recommend, when it comes to books, just read books that make sense to you. If you're reading something and it totally doesn't make sense to you and you feel there's false information in it, if you feel it's feeding you a bunch of baloney or whatever you want to say, then trust your instincts on it. It probably is baloney, right? It probably is. So don't bother and read something that's just going to feed you with a lot of false information, because that's not going to help you. You need truth, because when you're fed false information, you know what it does? It puts blinders on. It puts blinders on, so you are less aware. And the evil intentioned people out there, the ones that don't want good, hard people to do well and artists to succeed and people to move on up in society and help the millions upon millions of people out there, those who don't want that to happen want you to have blinders on. So they want you to feed you with false information, because the more false information you're given, less likely chance of you being more aware, right? Like, as an example, if a criminal doesn't want to be found out about their criminal activities, don't you think they'd have a problem with you becoming better? They probably would, right? They probably would not want you to become more knowledgeable, right? Because with more knowledge is more power, right? And so then somebody who's criminally or has that criminal intention mind, they're going to be freaked out and scared. Oh no, I'm going to be found out if they become more knowledgeable. Oh no, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's an indication too. If somebody's highly critical of you, say, like, if you want to improve your life, if you want to do better, if somebody's highly critical over that, and tries to knock down, like, maybe the church or the book that's going to help you a whole bunch, or a course that's going to help you a whole bunch, or whatever, if somebody's knocking that hard, you got to wonder, what are their intentions? You know what I'm saying? It's a good indication that they may be a criminal or something. They're doing something behind the scenes that you don't know about. They don't want you to know about, right? Or or maybe they have a really bad past and they don't want you to find out the past, and they're worried. So the more intelligent you become, more aware you become, then they may feel that they're going to lose you now and you're not going to be around anymore, right? You're not going to be their friend anymore, or their lover, or whatever, their, husband or wife or whatever, right? Whatever case scenario that might be, friend, acquaintance, right? So just trust your instincts. Like, if you're reading something and it doesn't make sense to you, just trust that, and don't believe something that in your heart is not true, right? So, and then but make sure whenever you do read, make sure that you give what you are reading a chance, because sometimes a person can give up on their studies if there's like words they don't understand when they're reading it. Like if there's terminology that they don't understand, or sometimes say in a paragraph, there might be the same words being said in the paragraph, right? You know, same exact word, but there's different definitions to that word. Like maybe in the first sentence, that specific word you saw is defined differently than the third sentence with that same word in it. Right? So then people can get tripped up sometimes. They think they understand maybe the full paragraph, but they don't. And sometimes people can give up on their studies if they don't understand what they're reading. So maybe you didn't give it enough chance, right? Maybe you're like, this sucks, you know what I mean? But it wasn't because of the false information in the book. It was just because you didn't understand maybe the words that were in the book. So just make sure you have a very good dictionary, I would recommend, in anything that you read, right? So that way you don't potentially miss out on some really good knowledge you could have gotten. So yeah, make sure you understand the words, you know, if you need to get visual, because you know what I've noticed is a lot of children deal with visual, right? You know, in elementary school, children deal with blocks, right? They play with blocks, they play with Play-Doh, you know. They make it into little characters. They might be learning something and they make it into little characters while they're learning about that or something. Maybe if they're studying about like elephants as an example, they might make an elephant out of the Play-Doh, right? So then it gives them a more reality of like, oh, that's what an elephant is, right? Or something. Just to give you an example. Or they play with blocks to get some visual with what they're studying, right? Or they might sketch something out, right, while they're studying. But once a lot of people get into junior high school, and college years, that just goes away. There's not a lot of practical where you do the practical application aspect of what you're studying, right? There needs to be a balance. You can't just expect the person to always just study words and words after words after words, and then with no visual, right? You need the visual too. I'm a very visual person. Like the older I get, the more wise I become. I understand this even more, and I just confront, wow, I'm a very visual person. So when I study something personally, it's so much harder if I don't get the visual, right? So then I might sketch something. Oh, okay. And oh my God, all of a sudden I have this massive realization of what I'm studying because I did a sketch, right? It's so cool. So anyway, I definitely highly recommend a person to make sure that they understand like all the words that they're, you know, don't think you're stupid. Like, do not, when you're studying, do not. What's not intelligent is pretending you know something when you don't know, right? How do you expect to become more intelligent if you pretend that everything's all right and, oh, I already know what that word means, when you don't? Just confront you don't know something and look it up. Not a big deal. You'll become more intelligent as a result, right? So
definitely.
there's nothing wrong with it. Like we all could know more, right? Something that you're strong in and you're really good at, maybe I'm not, right? Or something I'm really strong and good at, maybe you're not. It doesn't mean you're less or more than me. It doesn't mean I'm less or more than you, right? Let's just all like move on up together in the world. You know what I mean? Become more intelligent. Anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Definitely. No, that's incredible. And I think that's beautiful message to finish on. And I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd say I test everybody out there on a fun note. You know, it's a fun test, okay? So like I mean, you know, I would say, hey, if you're gonna apply something right now, test it out and see how it does affect things in your studies. Like for sure, like if you start sketching things out, how much better. Don't be worried about how your sketch looks. Just sketch it out what you're studying and see how that helps you, you know, understand what you're studying more. It's just about application. Why I love the arts is because you can apply what you're learning, right? Acting is that. You're acting things out. You're actively applying the data, right? You know, the character, owning it, bringing it on. So it's about whatever you're studying, you want to own it. You want to like what you're studying, right? The only way to like it is to really understand it and apply it. Because if you feel incompetent about something, that's not going to make you happy, right? So trust me, I think we've all been there where there were times we were studying something we felt like crap, right? We're like, oh my God, or we feel incompetent, right? You don't usually want to pursue something if you feel incompetent about it, right? We want to pursue the things we feel good about, that we feel capable of doing, and things like this, right? But there's so much out there that you could be competent at that you don't even realize, right? So it's about just making sure you apply things correctly and get the true data, make sure you understand the words you're studying, sketch things out, get the visual, things like that, right? It's going to make a massive, massive difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But you wanted me to, I know earlier you were mentioning that, I guess at the end you wanted me to tell people like my social media or something, right? So if people want to touch and things like this.
Yeah, all your links, and I'll put them up there as well. I'll edit it into the video.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, thanks.
So if you want to tell everyone, and then I'll put it all up as well.
Sure. So with regards to my businesses, on Facebook, I'm extra established on Facebook at the moment, but I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, but even more on Facebook under VIP treatment for you. So it's VIP treatment. And then you don't spell out 4, it's a number 4, right? And then the letter U. So VIP treatment for you. And so it's under that on all of those avenues. And then the other one is surprise supplements, 2 words, and then surprise with a Z. So then you can find me there on, again, Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok. And for my personal and acting, it's just Jessica Eve Scozzola that you see there under my TikTok and Instagram. And then also for Facebook and Instagram, I'm under also just Jessica Scozzola. There you go.
Incredible. Yeah, everyone go and follow all those platforms, and I'll edit it into, and I'll put your links on as well.
Cool. No, I appreciate it. And then, I mean, if also any listeners listening in too, if you want, I'll give you also, just by listening, and supporting Thomas and his show and everything, I'll also give you a discount on, so just if you communicate with me, like within a reasonable time frame, like maybe within like the next week or something, then I'll make sure you get a discount, on services, products, and stuff that I offer, so whether you're a business owner that needs some help that I was saying that I offer, right? Or, you need some good supplements and you need some help too on the having motivation from a personal trainer or a coach and things like this, I could get you connected up with the right people with regards to fitness and things like this. If you need people to be, to help you on the accountability, for losing weight or just become more fit, things like this, I can help on that. And also if you want to be a sponsor for some events that I'm going to be putting on, things like this, or other companies that need sponsors, if you want to be a sponsor for their events, things like this. Yeah, just there's a lot I help with. So just reach out if you want me as an actress for your film or TV show, things like this. You want to represent me, right now I'm actually looking for a SAG franchised agency to represent me. Give me a shout out, reach out and let's talk. If you want me to audition for you, I'm game. Let's do it. Let's make it go right. Let's make it go right.
Yeah, let's do it. Make it happen.
Yeah. You don't get what you don't ask for, basically, right? You have to go get it,
100%.
Yeah.
It's been great. Thanks very much, Jessica Scozzola, everyone, and I'll let you know when it's out.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks very much again for coming on. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Great chatting to you. Okay, I'll keep in contact.
All right. Thanks. Take care.